NFL responding to the fantasy football scandal, but Commissioner Roger Goodell not showing much concern about the accusations, saying, quote, "It's not based on the outcome of a game, which is what our biggest concern is with sports betting." Joining us now is Fox Sports NFL insider Mike Garafolo. Mike, good to see you.
Same here.
What do you think about Goodell's comments?
That is an incredibly thin line to draw. Really, really thin line to draw because, well, think of it this way. So their concern is inside information. That's why they started with the injury reports to say, here's who's injured, here's who's questionable, here's who's doubtful, because the bookies were getting the information ahead of the general public. So that's their concern there. Well, what if you found out that, hey, the game plan is heavy on this guy? Yeah. Well, that's kind of the same thing, right? You're getting inside information that somebody else is not getting. It doesn't affect necessarily the outcome of the game.
But it gives you an edge.
It does give you an edge, and it's a very thin line to draw. And then there's also prop bets, and there's also other bets that you can actually just make a bet outside of fantasy. Make a bet. I'm going to bet this guy's going to get this many yards, and that's also straight gambling. So they're really drawing these thin lines.
But he's not going to trample on fantasy sports and fantasy football because it has been hugely beneficial to the game itself. People play it. They want to watch the games. It has helped boost viewership. And particularly given his reign as the head of the NFL in the last year and a half or almost 2 years, he has been pew-wee, and so it's helped him keep his job.
And they have featured fantasy football over the last couple of years, and they'll say, well, it's different because these are leagues between friends, and there's no money exchanged here, whereas this is a contest, right? That's what they're calling them, a contest, where you're applying a fee, and then you're going to get the and once the contest is full, good, we're going to go fill another contest. These are just really incredible. And let's just call a spade a spade.
Let's talk about that. Like, there is a huge, we liken it to insider trading on Wall Street, whether it's a big firm running their prop desk in front of client orders or not. The NFL Red Zone is sponsored by DraftKings. The owners of the NFL, including Kraft, own parts of FanDuel and DraftKings. The cartel that is run for the NFL owners is Roger Goodell. So, isn't the conflict of interest part of that comment?
A little bit, a little bit, absolutely.
That's a good point.
If you've watched a football game this year, you've seen that the majority, not the majority, but a huge chunk of the commercials that you're seeing are FanDuel and DraftKings and back and forth.
Well, they're advertising a lot everywhere, by the way.
The exclusive NFL Red Zone advertiser is DraftKings.
Well, Major League Baseball owns part of DraftKings, too, so it's not just football. They've spent roughly, just the two of them this year, through the beginning of September, about $150 million in advertising. Incredible. They're an advertising category in and of themselves, just those two companies.
That's incredible. But fantasy has been a big part of the NFL, and the big part of the NFL's success. People are watching. That's why the Red Zone exists, because I want to see what all my fantasy guys are doing. It's a huge part of the NFL. It has been. And again, these are thin lines. At some point, let's just all agree what it is. It's gambling and just go for it.
Exactly. All right, what are the NFL key matchups you're watching this week?
Oh, we're going to watch that Patriots-Cowboys game. How about Greg Hardy? This was...
Let's talk about this for a second.
So Greg Hardy comes back from a suspension after being accused and convicted by a judge, but then was kicked to a jury and kicked out because the girlfriend didn't cooperate of domestic violence. Then comes out and says, I'm going to come out guns a-blazing, which... Okay, fine. I was going to let that one slide. Then he starts talking about Tom Brady and his wife. I hope she comes to the game. I hope her sister comes to the game. And a And a lot of people had issues with this. He's maintaining his innocence.
Why bring up the Giselle Bundchen and her sister?
Some of these guys are just meatheads. I mean, how else could you?
In this case, I'm not saying he has to show remorse or admit guilt or anything because he's maintaining his innocence, but probably should have been a little bit more sensitive. Anyway, the point being towards this weekend's game, when you tick off Tom Brady, you usually pay for it on the field, so that's what I'm going to be watching there. And for your daily fantasy, a little tidbit for you.
Yes.
Rob Gronkowski, the Cowboys plan to cover him with rookie Byron Jones for a chunk of the game. So this could get really ugly if Byron Jones doesn't play like a veteran.
This is the only game of the whole year that I root for the Cowboys, and I will still be rooting for the Cowboys because I want the Patriots to lose.
You're not letting it go. Well, look for Tom Brady to take it out
for Patriots.
On the field. Wow, that's going to be a good game.
I've heard all morning.
Tommy.
Mike, Residence Insider, thank you so much.
You got it.
Mike Garafolo there. Straight ahead.